Paul. I wonder where he's got off to. Paul. Paul, what are you doing?
No, nothing. I'm testing. All right. Truth be told, I'm making sweet Hobart A120 mixer love to my mixer. You don't realize the history, the struggle, the tears that went into getting this perhaps most important piece of restoration gear for the boat and certainly the galley. Come closer. Let me put, I feel like I need a cigarette. Anyway.
Do you need a room?
Well, I had a room until you came looking for me. Hello, I'm Paul Ferrace, president of the USS Cod Submarine Memorial, and this is our beloved George Sacko, taken sometime about June 45 on Cod's last war patrol. And as you can see from perhaps even earlier showings of this picture, that's George here in his galley. Well, he had a lot of other cooks. And over here, right by his shoulder, is a Hobart A120 mixer. U.S. Navy submarines in World War II were basically equipped with Hobart 12-quart mixers. Hobart is based in Troy, Ohio, and they produce a whole range of big, sturdy mixers. I'm going to put George down right here by his bread for a moment. They make mixers, and the 12-quart is actually quite small. In fact, if you get aboard Ryan Zemansky's big bathtub battleship, they've got mixers in their galley that Ryan and I could take a hot tub soak in. But anyway, we just have little 12-quart mixers because it's a submarine and the crew is about at most maybe 97 guys for us. So you don't need a giant mixer like they have on battleships, carriers, and cruisers. But even a 12-quart, this thing I would not want to drop on my foot. This has got to weigh at least 80 pounds. And of course, fitting one of these things inside the cramped confines of a galley, well, let's just say that leg sticks out and it's mounted over here pretty good. That's stable, but boy, I would not want to be standing here if we took a heavy depth charging. But anyway, the Hobart A120 mixer, it's a marvelous piece of equipment. It has various attachments if you're into food service. This right now is, actually, let me remove that. This, the dough hook, this was actually the only piece of our original Hobart mixer outfitting. And the tip broke off. So somebody must have bitten into a slice of bread and got a chunk of pot metal or aluminum. Ooh. But anyway, so we're missing probably about 3/4 of an inch. But this is the original dough hook. And this is what would mix the dough for George's bread. But there's other attachments because maybe you're doing other things. You can whip up frostings. And where is, I went from the photo. George put his, this is a basic beater, and this is a balloon whip. This is how you whip up some frostings. In fact, I might we might put one of these on for the time being, and I'll explain later why we might do that. So you get that up there, and I'm going to put these over here for a second and get that to lock on. There we go. Yeah, the basic beater hook. So where were we? So it's an amazing thing. It's got all these attachments for making frostings, batters, mostly for bread. Certainly, if you're whipping up things, dressings, this mixer is a big help. Now, George Sacko worked at an Italian bakery before the Navy got him, and George when he looked at the brand new cod and its brand new Hobart A120 mixer, hadn't really ever used one before, but he was very happy to have one because he remembered, as he told me, mixing bread by hand, the bread dough. It certainly got his hands clean. But it's a big pain in the butt to, you really, well, look at those arms. This guy has some guns. Mixing up that dough. It's so much nicer to have literally a dough hook on a power mixer to do that for you. But the point is, he hadn't really worked on one of these with one of these. And so he just threw it together and plugged it in, and off they went. And very quickly, he smelled some burning smells, and it ground to a stop. And looking at the manual, he didn't realize that you had to pack the bearings with food-grade grease. Luckily, Frank Kimball, our engineering officer, was available to save his butt, and they did that, and it worked perfectly. Unfortunately, our mixer disappeared. These things are very valuable for small restaurants. The standard 20-quart mixer, which is probably about 6 inches taller, and a 20-quart, not a 12-quart bowl, those are actually the most ubiquitous. Hobart, in my conversations with the company, they make 10 20 quarts to every single one that's either bigger or smaller. But anyway, these things disappeared from the fleet. They probably were taken home by chiefs who might want to start a restaurant. Who knows? Ours was missing. And that's the tale I want to tell you, because nothing's ever simple on the cod. About 1992, I get this beautiful picture of George, and I realize, yes, indeed, we had a Hobart A120 mixer. And you don't find these things at used restaurant supplies very easily. Again, 12-quart, a little too small. Restaurants have all the 20-quart A200s. And even the used ones, because these things are so well built by skilled Ohio craftsmen, they never really wear out. So a used one is probably 80% the price of a new one. And we didn't have that kind of budget in those days. I couldn't find a 12-quart, and we certainly didn't want to pay what it would cost. But I did contact Hobart in Troy, Ohio, and I got some high up in the corporate ladder, and I explained to him the cod, National Historic Landmark, Submarine. I think I had Kate Smith singing "God Bless America" in the background, and I told him that we were searching for a 12-quart mixer, and I could hear him wiping away tears, and he said, it just worked out in your favor, because he said, we have just concluded a contest to find the oldest operating Hobart mixer, which, by the way, they had they found one of their clients still using a 1918 model. Apparently that guy won the contest. They took it and gave him new stuff. But he said, I've got, he says, I just passed an A120 sitting in the warehouse in the corner somewhere. He said, I'm going to have them rebuild that and ship it to you. Thank you, Jesus. Well, we were anticipating arrival of our A120. Now we have to digress. In Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, our sister memorial sub, USS Bowfin, at the time, curated by my dear friend Eldana Senzikas, they had an A200. Yeah, come in here. You got to give some love. Give some love to this beautiful, sexy mixer. Look at this. I mean, it goes up and locks in place. It comes down. It's got this sinuous, beautiful curvature. Maybe I'm getting a little overheated. Anyway, Eldana had a placekeeper on Bowfin. It was one of the big A200s. And one day, a man and his wife stopped by and they said, I work for, no, in fact, I think he said, I'm the president of Hobart, and I was so proud to see one of our mixers in the galley. And Aldana said, well, funny you should mention, she said, we don't need an A200. That's too big. We fought World War II with an A120. And the president said, you know, I just happened to see one being rebuilt in the repair shop before I left on this vacation with my family. I'll see that you get that. Yes, our beloved cod mixer was shanghaied and taken and shipped to Hawaii. To make matters worse, Aldana, being the prankster she was, sent copious pictures. Now, this is before the internet, so I had to get color snapshots in the mail, of my mixer with lays on it arriving aboard and being installed. And I think she even went as far as to write a little ransom note saying, help, I'm being held against my will in Hawaii. So I came that close to actually this major piece of galley restoration. Well, that just kicked my ardor into high gear. Again, every time I went to a restaurant, I would check the back room, you know, if I could. I came up with any excuse I could to visit the kitchen. And hopefully I would find an A120, you know, in a corner about to be thrown out. Because we didn't want it necessarily to work. In fact, we didn't want it to work. Why would you have a working galley? Well, I couldn't conceive of our great crew that we have today. But anyway, I wanted something to finish out the galley. And let's just say I saw a lot of grungy kitchen back rooms and things. Never got one. My dear friends at the Rayquin at the time were doing a strip ship. They called me and said, we just dragged a 250-pound mixer across 3 decks of different ships and down a precarious ladder, and it's in the truck, and we're going to bring it to Cleveland. I said, hallelujah. I said, you found an A120? They said, no, it's an A200. And I said, okay, I'll take it, guys. But my hope was that we would trade it, perhaps sell it. Anyway, so thanks to Scott Kleinschnitz and his crew, we got an A200. I took it to the various used restaurant shops. I took it to Hobart, the local repair shop for Hobart. And I said, guys, how about we do a trade? And they said, no. I said, well, what do we do here? And they said, well, we'll sell you one. And then we'll take your A200. We'll sell it to you at a discount. You give us the 200. Well, I thought I was being taken to the cleaners. But I was so desperate, I got an A120. We gave up our A200. I think they came out much better in the deal. But finally, we got one. I mean, my friends, you know, they were really just ready to drop a net over me. In fact, Frank Thompson, then curator of the Navy, was telling people that if I got married and had a daughter, I would name her Hobartia. And Frank, you're absolutely wrong. I would have named her Troya after Troy, Ohio, where the Hobarts were. But anyway, yes, I think I was a little too passionate. I was a little too consumed with the search, the hunt for the elusive A120. I did find one. I put it in my hatchback car, standing up, the glass coming right down close. And I said, this thing's so heavy, I'll gently drive. Well, I gave it a little bit of gas and I heard a thunk. This thing tipped forward and hit the glass of my hatchback. But I think angels must have put their wingtips here because I was expecting to see a shattered rear hatch glass, but it wasn't nicked. So I was very glad of that. I did put a towel over that because, you know, guardian angel wingtips, you know, you can't always guarantee they'll be there when you need them. But anyway, so there it is. It's been here in the galley since I don't know, 1999, I don't know, somewhere around there, 1998. But it's just been sitting here. Well, as you know, Dave Cracy, our maintenance guy, got the ovens working and the range tops. It's all functional now. And in fact, a local organization that trains the recently incarcerated in culinary arts so they can work in restaurants. They come through, we give them, they have free pass to the boat. This local sub-vet, Mike, he brings these people through and he basically trains them, gives them lectures on a submarine in teamwork, which I think is a pretty good place to talk about teamwork. Well, they want to make us a 50th anniversary cake because this is COD's 50th anniversary in our hands as a memorial ship. Well, they want to bake in our ovens an anniversary cake, a 50th anniversary cake in the ovens, and that means they're going to have to mix batter and they're going to have to make some buttercream frosting. So I said to Dave, can you check to make sure or see what's required to get this bad boy working? And if Dave were here, he'd say, not much. He just had to plug it in.
Well, you were right about the mixer. It has just a standard plug, a standard household plug for 110 volts AC. Now it's running at low speed, medium, and high. And all the while it's drawing a nominal about 5.5 amps AC, just like it says on the nameplate spec.
So without further ado, I'm going to bring the bowl up to its mixing position and yeah, show that eye candy. Now that bowl has seen a lot of mix in it, a lot of dough. We might want to give it another cleaning before we start mixing up the batter. But yeah, that's going to be your batter mixing for that cake. We have our cake pans somewhere. Let me see. Oh yeah. Yeah, we got, well, that's a bread pan. That's more bread pans. Trust me, we got a cake pan. We got cake pans. I found them anyway. So yeah, we're gonna make the batter, and then later we'll put our balloon whip accessory on there, and we'll have some rusty flavored buttercream frosting. You know, I think I might, since none of these are actual artifacts except for the dough hook from COD, maybe it's time to buy some new ones. Something that won't create lockjaw frosting. Anyway, so we're looking forward to that. They're going to make a cake and decorate it, and we'll certainly celebrate with them and have that cake. My plan is also to do some cooking here. We'll do brunch for the crew, but that's another subject. So,
Do you want me to give you some privacy now?
would you just, yeah, you can turn the lights off too. You lovely thing, I'm so happy to have you.